Today we bring out the big guns and start digging down in the stone house. The biggest test yet. Does this house even have foundations? And will it stand having the floor lowered by 20 centimetres? We find out. As rocks and stones leave their centuries-old home, John starts cutting tiles for the just-in-case scenario that will allow us to start considering what the inside of this once damp old animal barn could look like.
Good morning, everybody. Big day. Tara's still away in Zimbabwe, but that's not stopping the work going on here. We left the extension looking like that in the last episode. I'm delighted with it, to be honest. I think it's going really, really well. We've also been talking a little bit about digging down in the stone house, and there's been a lot of comments from you guys about, well, why don't we just lift the height of the door? Why are we digging the floor out? And that's a really good question. So in short, although it doesn't seem like it, I think it will be easier. I'm confident it will be easier to dig down than to try and restructure the front of the house. In addition, I'm also fairly confident that there's no damp-proof course in the downstairs room. So by lifting up a whole bunch of soil, we're going to be able to put a damp-proof course in there. Now, the idea behind this is just to create space for the ceiling, so that when we're walking around in there, we don't feel like we're going to bang our heads on everything, and also so that when we walk through the door, we're not going to hit our heads. Now, this is a job that I could do myself, maybe okay, but I've got Carlos here today, who's going to help. So the plan, first of all, is to dig a test hole. We're not going to do anything major before we have a look at what's underneath the floor. Who knows? Originally, this will have been, or part of this house will have been for animals. I've talked to a few local people around here who've got similar kinds of buildings about what type of foundations they have. And most people are saying that the rocks will go at least half a metre, maybe even a metre in the ground, which basically means, you know, those are huge rocks. Even if they didn't go down, they're just not going anywhere. But we want them to be in the floor so that we've still got a wall when we go down, if you see what I mean. I'm doing a lot of rambling because I really want that you guys know what's going on here. So if you look, this is the outside of the wall. There are big rocks here, and then underneath them there's a whole bunch of other rocks that these rocks are sat on. The hope and the expectation is that the rocks that are in the ground are the same size as the ones on the wall, which will mean when we dig down there's going to be plenty of foundation and plenty of walls. But like I said, there's Carlos. He's going to have a dig down and just have a look and see what's underneath there before we do anything too drastic. Anything we do right now, it can be fixed. Carlos has just said to me that he's put the first hole into the ground, and basically what we've got is a cement slab that's about like that, and then underneath that, nothing. So let's go and have a quick look. Carlos is saying underneath this rock there's one more rock as well, so that would suggest that the foundations of this building are pretty deep indeed. Alright, see. We found the bottom of this big stone here. We found its bottom. Esther. That's good. Okay, on that first go, we dug a small hole. I could see the bottom of the top rock, the rock that we currently see on the side of the wall, but I couldn't see a rock underneath there, and basically there's a gap. Obviously, these gaps between the rocks can be quite large. and we've gone through to a gap in that wall that we'll have to fix obviously a little bit later on, but below that rock is another really big rock by the looks of things. Carlos has just been pop, 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 with his machine up against it, and I saw sparks flying off of it, so off of rock. So we're good to go. Let's see, hopefully it works out. But interestingly, no rebar in that cement, zero damp proof course, and zero insulation. Like I said earlier, I'm not sure whether we're going to put insulation back in there. What's super interesting about the cement that's coming up right now is that it's not damp, it's dry cement. So, I mean, that's just weird. In the UK, it would be soaking wet because the water would be coming up through the ground. It'll be really, really interesting to see what's underneath this. Maybe we find some dead bodies. Animal dead bodies, obviously. Or maybe we find some treasure. Where's Crusoe when you need him, eh? Okay, so one of the things that we're doing at the moment to get rid of all of the dirt and the soil and the rocks that are coming out of the stone house is we're putting it all into here, the derelict house. And the reason why we're doing that is fairly soon, and I mean really soon, fingers crossed, Mario's going to come with his big digger and we're going to knock it down. So look out for that episode. But so far we've been dumping a whole bunch of stuff, a whole bunch of rubble in here so that when Mario comes to knock it down, he can take away everything that we've excavated from other projects and from this project as well. But there are things that I want to save from this house before Mario comes, and one of those things is over there in the corner, and it's a stove, old cast iron stove. I think we're going to find a really cool place for that in a future project. So I'm just going to pull that out and make sure it's nice and safe. Right, take this outside and I'll show you what it looks like, but it's fab. Oh, bloody hell, that's heavy. There it is. Isn't that fancy? Somebody has spent a lot of money on that, I'm sure of it. And I'm also very sure that that is going to find pride of place somewhere in our new house. Love it. Well, what a very exciting day today is. As you all know, I have been working on my lawn for the best part of 3 years now. When we began this lawn project, I basically stomped every single section of it flat and then threw a bunch of grass seed down. It's been a labor of love, and like anybody who loves their lawn will know, it's one of those obsessions that you just want to get right. We've reached a crescendo in the lawn project, and that's with the arrival of my Mammotion Luba 2 AWD series lawnmower. I'm going to tell you a little bit about it very shortly. First of all, take a look at these shots of the Mammotion Luba 2 in action all over my lawn. One of the most important things to me about mowing a lawn is making sure that I get straight lines. This pole is remotely connected to the machine. Basically takes signals from satellite GPS in order to make sure that the lawnmower is cutting perfectly straight lines. And I mean perfectly, absolutely spot on every single time. One of the big benefits that Mammotion promote quite heavily is the fact that it only takes around about 18 minutes to set up. And that's because there's no perimeter wires. You take the machine out of the box, you set it up, plug it all together, and then you drive it around the perimeter of your lawn. I've currently set mine to cut in a chessboard style. That backwards and forwards, crisscross, basically leaves me with a really beautiful looking lawn. It's a really sophisticated piece of kit. This badger here can climb up to 38 degrees slope. It's got an anti-theft device in there. Basically means once you've set it up with your property on your piece of land, it knows where it belongs, and if it's robbed, it's going to tell you where it is. So it's really difficult to pinch it without getting found out. Other things you can do with it is set the speed that it's cutting. You can also set the height of the blades. It can also cut up to 2.5 acre worth of lawn, 10,000 square meters. That is a colossal lawn. One of the most useful and handiest things about having the Luba 2 is that it comes with an app. It took me about 5 minutes to work out how to use it, and once I'd worked it out, I'm able to set the height of the cut, set and schedule when it goes out, and well, it is running off electricity as well. So most of my electricity currently is coming from the sun with the solar panel. So rather than beating up an old petrol driven lawnmower, I can say with confidence that I'm mowing my lawn from the power of the sun, and that feels really, really good. That's my Luba 2, and I absolutely love it. So thank you very much to Mammotion and the Luba 2 for sponsoring this video. If you're interested in getting your hands on one of these very, very cool robots yourself, or if you're just curious, please click on the unique link in the description below. It'll take you through to their website. And remember, by clicking on that link, you're really helping support our channel. Mammotion and the Luba 2. Very, very cool. Loud in there. Okay, so no treasure yet, but the guys are around about, I'd say, between a third and a halfway across. They've been going at it for a couple of hours now, so it's happening really quickly. Brilliant. Okay. Lovely stone, look at that. I'll keep that one for a project. So what we're finding underneath the floor is a lot of really big stones. You know, there is a temptation to take these stones and try and make a slab floor. But I don't think there's going to be enough of them. And I've got an idea for a terracotta floor in there. Just think it'll be quite beautiful when it's done. So we'll save all of these big stones that are coming out. We'll look after them, we'll protect them, and we'll do something with them at a later date. So as we are digging down in the building, I'm also keeping a very close eye on the outside of the building to see if there are any hairline cracks appearing, anything that looks a little bit nefarious or dodgy. So far, nothing's moved, not a single thing, but then you probably wouldn't expect anything to move with rocks like that as the foundation of a building. Nevertheless, a really, really good idea to keep an eye on it. So far, I know from before we started the project, there's a hairline crack that runs down the side of the building there. That's always been there. It's not getting any bigger. And at the very top, near the eaves of the building, there's a couple of cracks, but they've also always been there. So we'll keep an eye, make sure that make sure that none others appear. So far, like I say, we're halfway through digging. It's almost lunchtime. It's going very, very well. I'm going to be honest with you though, I don't know how they can be in there without any ear defenders. As you guys know, I've never really been a big one for personal protection gear. I'm always forgetting it. I'm always, I don't know, just like in a rush, too much of a rush to use it. Quite often, I'm getting a lot better with it now. But what I can say is, if I were doing that job, I would definitely, no matter what, stop everything and put the ear defenders on. It's really noisy in there. I have offered, they're not interested. All right, so the guys have taken a break for lunch. Gives me an opportunity to come in here and have a good scout around, see what's going on, see what's on the floor, see what they're battling with, and see where those rocks are. So let's have a good look around. I'd say the floor has already come down quite significantly over here. We've got one rock that's just kind of there. I'm not sure what that's balanced on just yet, but the guys are very confident that it's on more rock. Over here, you can see clearly there's rock that rock is on top of. It might be that the very best rocks they've saved for the wall. So we got to keep an eye on those foundations, whether they're fragile or not. But like I say, the guys that are in here at the moment are very confident that there's no problem. I wouldn't be surprised if this wall in particular is just straight onto rock on rock, and that's never going anywhere. This house was built for forever. The fellas are back, and the rain continues to come down. We are promised sunshine towards the end of this week, and hopefully that's pretty much it then for the rest of the summer. It would be really great if it was like that when Crusoe and Sawyer and Tara get back, just so that they can enjoy being outside a little bit more. I know all the mud and the chaos that ensues was starting to get Tara down a little bit. So hopefully this rain just does one soon. Although, give it a couple of months and we'll be begging for it to come back. But anyway, we're now just looking at this step here. This concrete step, this one's the one that's got to go. So we're just measuring it up. We've got the grinder out. We're going to cut the lines nice and straight. And hopefully when we walk in through the door then, it's going to feel really great and we're not going to be banging our head. Okay team, here's the update. It's going pretty well. There's a whole bunch of soil and rubble come out of the room. It's definitely, the top layers come out. We're going to need to lower it down now, but we're having some troubles getting through that doorway. It looks like there's a foundation that's been laid of cement underneath there, that's sort of really, really strong. So I'm just going to bash through that part on the doorway, and then we can say that we're almost lowered. Well, in that part of the room anyway. Oh, hang on, wait a second, let me get out. I'm going to get out because that's going to be dusty. I hate that machine, it's one of the worst ever machine. That machine right there scares the living heck out of me. It is scary, scary machine. I've used it a lot. I just don't, every time I've got to pick it up and use it, I really dislike doing it. It's a lot easier with a handsaw and a piece of wood. Anyway, the guy's done a good job. Carlos has done a great job. That's it, there's the step. Same level all the way through. that's better. Well, that's it. That's the end of a really long day. We are pretty much all the way down. Good morning, team. It's bright and early. It's actually about 7:30 in the morning, and Carlos is here already, digging away, finishing off digging. So the plan today is quite exciting. We're looking to finish the digging down today, have a look at what's going on. Yesterday we had a look at those walls and they're looking pretty strong, pretty nice. I'm going to go up here and do a little bit of woodwork. So we'll see how that goes today as well. Hopefully, well, let's see. Hopefully I've got time to be up there. But first of all, I need to cut some tiles so that we can have a look how the tiles are going to go down on the floor. So that's my first job this morning, cut some tiles and make a plan. So I've got a length. What I'm going to basically do is cut a shape out and then cut the tiles to fit on top of the shape so that we know that it's going to be good in that porch area. All right, so these are the tiles that I've got, and I've got them through a Portuguese subsidiary of a Spanish company. Maybe like that. All right, I have a lot of cutting to do here, guys. That looks all right, doesn't it? Just want that porchway to look like a mat, to look really cool when you come in it. So I think we're going to need to cut some strips that are a little bit, there's going to be a lot of cutting involved in there, simple as that. Right, let me go and do some cutting and I'll come back. Okay, that's where we've got to. I got to stop now though, because we need the same plug to mix cement, and cement mixing is more important than me fiddling around with a few tiles. So for now, that's what we've got. I think it's going to look great when it's in position. We'll see a little bit later on, I'm sure, how it goes down. There's a few more bits to cut and make it look good. But right now, it's going to get exciting. We're going to start laying some cement. Brilliant.